So, if you remember last lecture, we talked about the difference between the main verb and the auxiliary verb. Okay, so today we have some examples and some rules concerning simple present or present simple. So, if you remember, we said that all sentences can be either positive, okay, or negative, or question. So this means that we can use the same sentence in two cases, positive or negative, and at the same time we can change the negative or positive sentence into a question. Okay, so this is the first type and this is the second type. Both of them can be changed into questions. Sorry, because I was giving admissions to your colleagues. Okay. Then, if we remember that we said that we have sometimes pronoun by which we can replace names, and usually names occurs in the position of subjects, objects, okay, object of the sentence, subject of the sentence, and many other, or maybe complements. So it is not necessary to use nouns and names at that position, but we can also replace names and nouns by some pronouns. Okay, so these pronouns depends on the person. We said that we have first person, admission أخرنا ياخذ هواية وقت الطلاب، حاولوا تدخلون من وقت. يعني هسه احنا صار لنا ثلث ساعة أنا فقط أعطي موافقة وادمشن للطلاب اللي يريدون يدخلون بالإيميل غير الرسمي. Then we said that we have first person, second person, and third person. So when we want to replace the nouns or names related to these three persons, we can use different pronouns. So we call them personal pronouns, الضمائر الشخصية. So the first person in the singular is I always, because he is or she is the speaker, okay? And in the case of plural, we have we. Okay, and second person, here we are talking about the person who you or me talking to, I mean the receiver, the listener of the speech. And in this case, we can replace nouns and names related to second person by you. Okay, and you know that you is used in both cases, in singular and plural، يعني بالمفرد وبالجمع. So If we want to talk about the third person, here we have different changes. So concerning the female, we have she, okay, in the singular. Concerning the male, okay, we have he, okay, and also we have the neutral pronoun, which is it, because it's sometimes used instead of she and he, so we call it neutral. And also, all of them are considered, it, she, he are considered singular. So here in plural, here in singular, and here in plural, we have we. For you, we have you also, and here for she, he, it, we have they. Okay, so let's see how can we deal with these pronouns concerning the tenses, Azmina. So in case of we have positive, okay, or negative sentences. So for I, we, you, and they. So in case of simple present tense, okay, so here we can say I work, okay, hard. We also we work hard, okay, and they work hard. This is the simple tense for all these, and also you work hard for all these pronouns who are first. Here we have also first person, second person, and third person. Okay, this is in case of positive. For negative, okay, all of them okay, all of them can be changed into do not work. Okay, so here I can say I do not work, we do not work, you do not work, and they do not work. So if you want to talk about a question, for example, questioning by where. Okay, so I can say where do you? You know that in order to create a question or to change the declarative sentence into interrogative into a question, I have to use an auxiliary verb. Okay, so the auxiliary verb do here, if you remember, we have do, does to create a question, and also have and be family with models which are a big family. So here we have where, do. What are the pronouns or the persons that are suitable to the auxiliary verb do? So they are where, do. Here it is suitable for I, okay, and for we, for you, and for they. Here, the complement of the sentence will become for example, live. So where do I live? Where do we live? Where do you live? And where do they live? So again, here we have where, okay. The other auxiliary verb is does. Here, the pronouns or the persons that are suitable to does are he, she, and it. Where do he live? Okay. Where do she live? And where does he live? Where does she live? And where does it live? And also I have to put a question mark. Okay, this example and the previous like WH questions. And you know that in case that you want to ask using the auxiliary verb, for example, do, does, and have, you also should put in your mind the correspondence and the suitability between the pronouns and the auxiliary verb. So, for example, to ask some person using he or she or it, I have to ask using does. Okay, so for example, does she live in London? And also, does he live? Does it? Etc. What happens here is that in questions, I have to change the place of the auxiliary verb. Okay, I have to put the auxiliary verb at the beginning and it should be followed by the subject. So to answer such question, if you remember, we said it is a polite way to answer such question by saying either yes or no, okay, followed by something to be polite. For example, yes, she does, or no, she does not. So usually present simple tense is used, for example, to express is used to express, for example, an action. And this action should take place as a habit. Okay? يعني it should take place again and again. It means that you used to do this action. Okay? For example, I go to work by car. Because I used to go to my work by car. Maybe she drinks 10 cups of coffee a day. She used to drink 10 cups. Or I wash my hair twice a week. Okay. This is the first expression. Okay. Concerning this, the second expression, in which we can use the simple present, it is used to express a fact. So, for example, when I say some birds fly south in winter. This is a fact. We can't change this fact. Or we can say the sun rises in the east.
عفوا دكتورة.
Yes.
جاي كتبي على السبورة؟
ايه.
شو ما يطلع عنا شيء.
Just a minute, I will check it again. من قبل فترة ما يطلع لكم شيء؟
من بداية المحاضرة.
هاي كلها بسبب طلب القبول اللي دا يطلبوه الطلاب. قبول الدخول، لأنه أنتقل من الشاشة. هسه حاليا موجودة الشاشة عندكم؟
اي نعم دكتورة موجودة.
ماما رأسا نبهوني، من تختفي عندكم الشاشة نبهوني، لأنه أعتقد أنتم ما تسمعون التون اللي تجي لما الطالب يدخل. فأنا لما يدخل الطالب لازم أطلع أروح شاشة الميت وأرجع مرة ثانية، أنطي قبول وأرجع مرة ثانية. على العموم إحنا شرحنا قلنا إنه all sentences, we said that all sentences كل الجمل okay should be either positive, negative or question. I mean both of them, positive or negative, should be changed into question or can be changed into question. Okay, and we said that we have some pronouns that can be used instead of using nouns. اكو بعض الضمائر اللي احنا نستخدمها بدل ما نستخدم الاسماء. It is not necessary to use a noun at the beginning as a subject. مو بالضرورة انه نستخدم اسم في بداية الجملة كsubject or an object at the middle او يكون مفعول به في وسط الجملة. لكن we can change the nouns into pronouns. So these pronouns falls into three types, which are the first person, the second person, and third person. الشخص الأول والثاني والثالث. Usually the first person in singular. Here we have I and you. Okay, here we have in first personal I, okay, in plural we, singular and plural. In the second person we have you. You is usually used in both cases, in singular and in plural, بالمفرد وبالجمع. Third person, which is the absent person, here this is the speaker, here the second one is the listener, and the third one is the absent one, هو الغائب الموجود. She, he, for female, he for male, and it is considered a neutral one. This is in singular case. في حالة المفرد. In plural case we can use they. So in positive and negative sentences, if we want to deal with present simple or simple present tense, okay, I can use these pronouns. So I, we, you, and they, all of them in simple present can be suitable to say work hard. So I work hard, we work hard, you work hard, and they work hard. If we want to negate this sentence, I can say I don't work hard, we don't work hard, you don't work hard, and they don't work. So do is the most suitable auxiliary, to be used with these pronouns. Okay, but in case of the pronouns who is she, I have to use, or he or it, I have to use does. It means she does not work hard, he does not work hard. So to change this sentence, which is called declarative, into question, okay, for example, using where, the question where do I, we, you, they, all of them are suitable to be used with the auxiliary verb do. So where do I live? Where do we live? Where do you live? And where do they live? To answer such a question, I have to use the polite way by saying yes. Just a minute. Here, yeah. To answer such questions, started with does. Okay. I have to use the polite way by putting a complement. خلي تكملة للجملة. Do not answer by using no or yes only. So for example, بعدها موجودة الشاشة الوايت بورد.
نعم دكتورة موجودة.
موجودة تمام. So when I ask does she live in London, I have to answer by yes, she does, by putting this complement. So here, what are the cases in which we have to use the simple present tense? I said number one is to express an action, and this action should take place always. Okay, and it should be repeated again and again. For example, when I say I go to work by car, it means that you go to work by car every day. Okay, so this is called an action that represents a habit. The second case is to express a fact. And this fact that is always true. دائما هاي حقيقية موجودة هاي الحقيقة دائما تكون صحيحة. Okay, so for example when I say some birds fly south in winter. بعدها الشاشة موجودة؟
نعم دكتورة.
Yes. Number three, or the third case, is that to express a fact that is true, but here we said that is true. Okay? هي حقيقة يعني فعلا صحيحة موجودة. That is true in this case. Okay? For a long time. يعني it is considered a state. هي حالة تعتبر. Okay? For example, when I say I prefer, okay, coffee to tea. Okay. These are the most important cases in which we have to use the simple present. So, talking about the present, الكلام عن ال simple present, I have to shed light on some cases which concerning the spelling of verbs. You know that when we use she, I have to use the S of the third person singular. Okay, this can be done when we use the regular verb لما نستخدم الأفعال القياسية. Okay, and also the irregular verbs. So concerning the spelling of verb that are used with S of the third person singular. So first thing that should be mentioned is that most of the verbs that are used by adding the S to the base of them, okay, from the verb. For example, the base here is want. So when I want to add the S, which is occurs at the end of the verb, I have to put wants and pronounce the letter S with the sound se. I want, she wants. The same, for example, with eat. Eats. So here I have to say se. Okay? Helps. Sometimes I need to add es to the base of the verb. And usually this can happen when the base ends with what? Double S, SH, CH, X, and finally we have O. So the base يعني هو أساس الفعل or the root of the verb هو جذر الفعل. Okay. إذا كان ينتهي أحد هذه الأحرف I have to put es at the end or to add es at the end. For example, here I can say kisses. And here washes. Here watches. Okay. For X, for example, fixes. And for O, for example, goes. So here, kisses, washes, watches, and fixes are pronounced as is. And here, for those should be pronounced as the only. بعدها الصورة موجودة؟
ايه دكتورة بعدها؟
نعم. So the third case, here we have the verbs that ends or end in consonant. In consonant sound, like for example, Y. So in this case, I have to add to the verb only S. The verbs that end here not in consonant, in vowels. Just a minute. Sorry for this mistake. Here, if we have a verb ends in Y, okay, I have to change the Y into I and add ES. Okay. For example, the verb carry or fly, I have to change the into carries and flies. So this is when the Y is considered as a consonant. It is called a neutral sound. Okay, so if the Y here is consonant, then it should be changed into I. But if the Y here is vowel, okay, we simply add S only. Like, for example, buy. it will be changed into buys. Or play. It will become plays. And in this case, the pronunciation is Z. And here also it is flies, and carries is Z. Is it clear? Student, is it clear?
نعم دكتورة.
Do you have any question concerning this part of your unit? Okay. So if you want to change the present simple present into present continuous, okay, so we have to follow the same rule. I mean, to search for the appropriate or the suitable auxiliary depending on the person. يعني إذا احنا نريد نغير simple present المضارع البسيط إلى مستمر، لازم أيضا نراعي نفس القواعد بملائمة الفعل المساعد مع الشخص اللي هو يا أما يكون الشخص الأول أو الشخص الثاني أو الثالث. Because you know the auxiliary verb will be changed depending on the person. Because in continuous or present continuous, okay, I have always to use auxiliary verb before using the main verb that ends with ing. For example, I can say I am eating. This is in the case of positive. In case of negative, it will become I am not eating. So for the second person, the third person, for example, he or she. Okay. The suitable auxiliary verb for both of them is auxiliary. He or she is reading. He or she is not reading. This is the positive. and this is the negative. In the case of question, I can say what am is and are. What am is are. For am, I use I. For is, I use he, she, and it. For are, I use we, you, and they. What am I doing? Okay. What is he or she or it also doing? And what are you, we, they doing? Any question? Okay. Then I think this is the point to which we have to stop, because the next explanation will be different. Okay? We will talk about some adverbs, inshallah, next lecture. Do you have anything to say, please? Any comment? Okay. Then, since there is no question, no comment, no request, thank you very much for attending this lecture. Okay, and please, if you don't mind, next time try to join the lecture early in order to save time of giving admission to students who are joining us with the informal emails. Thank you very much for attending this session, and see you inshallah next lecture. Bye bye.